We are counting down 8 shocking truths about Ravensbrück, the Nazis' largest camp for women, and why they still shake the world today. 8. The only major Nazi camp built for women. Hidden in the forests north of Berlin beside a quiet lake, Ravensbrück was engineered with one purpose: to imprison women. Launched in 1938 under Himmler, it opened with wooden barracks, electrified fences, and a hospital that would become infamous. This was not just another camp. It was a laboratory for gendered persecution, designed to test how far a regime could control and crush women from more than 40 nations. It matters because it shows how Nazi policy targeted identity itself, not only ethnicity or politics, but womanhood. 7. How ordinary women became SS guards. Ravensbrück trained thousands of female guards who spread its methods to other camps. Many came from working-class backgrounds, lured by high pay and status. Trainers drilled them in discipline, racial ideology, and dehumanization, with lectures, propaganda films, and attacks with dogs. Names like Maria Mandel, Irma Grace, and Dorothea Binz became symbols of cruelty. Survivors said these guards often outdid men in brutality. This matters because it exposes how systems can turn normal people into perpetrators through ideology, incentives, and training. 6. Who was imprisoned here? The prisoner roll call at Ravensbrück was a map of Nazi hatred. Political opponents from Germany and across occupied Europe, Jewish women who faced the harshest conditions, Romani women targeted by racial policy, Jehovah's Witnesses marked by purple badges, so-called asocials, single mothers, and lesbians branded with black triangles, resistance fighters from Poland, France, Norway, the Netherlands, and more. Even a men's section existed by 1941 for labor. The colored badges and numbers replaced names. This matters because it proves the regime's net was wide and deliberate, criminalizing belief, identity, and courage alike. 5. The intake that erased identity. Trains stopped near the camp, doors opened, and the process began. Belongings seized, photos tossed, medicine taken, haircut for some as punishment, uniforms that did not fit, wooden clogs that tore feet, a new number stitched to a triangle that defined your fate. Survivors described the shock of seeing the motto "work makes you free" and realizing it was a lie. The goal was instantaneous dehumanization. It matters because the fastest way to destroy a person is to steal their name, their past, and their dignity in minutes. 4. Work, sabotage, and the Siemens factory. Days began before dawn, with endless roll calls in snow and rain, then 10 to 12 hours of labor. Women cleaned, farmed, built roads, and toiled in crowded workshops. The worst and the most strategic was the Siemens and Halski plant next door, where more than 2,000 prisoners built electrical parts for weapons and the guidance of V-1 and V-2 rockets. Toxic fumes burned skin and lungs, yet courage lived here too. Skilled prisoners taught others to hide microscopic faults, so parts failed later. This matters because it shows how slave labor powered the war machine, and how resistance flickered, even in the smallest wire. 3. Scalpel experiments and forced sterilization. In the camp hospital, healthy Polish prisoners were cut open, infected with bacteria, and mutilated to mimic battlefield wounds, then tested with drugs. They called themselves the Rabbits, and they documented everything. Romani women were subjected to chemical sterilization without anesthesia. Doctors chose victims with a mark on a list and dismissed their pain as necessary. The victims preserved names, smuggled notes, and even photos. This matters because it reveals science corrupted by ideology, and because the courage to record these crimes helped bring the killers to trial. 2. Death marches, white buses, and liberation. As the Red Army closed in, the SS burned papers and drove women into the winter roads. Those who fell were shot. Yet, a deal with the Swedish Red Cross sent white buses to rescue thousands, a rare light near the end, though many were left behind. On April 30th, 1945, Soviet troops reached the gates and found thousands starving and sick. Prisoners organized medical aid and identified hiding guards. This matters because liberation was not the end of suffering, but it was the start of accountability. 1. Trials, testimony, and the legacy that endures. British courts in Hamburg tried Ravensbrück stuff. Commandant Fritz Suren and key doctors were condemned. Some perpetrators slipped away, others served short terms, but survivors made sure the world could not look away. Women like Germaine Tillian, Odette Sansom, and many more wrote, testified, and taught. They turned numbers back into names. Their records shaped international law and our moral memory. This matters most because history lives or dies by witness. Ravensbrück was built by hatred, but its memory is preserved by love and by truth. Remembering these women is not just looking back. It is a promise to see humanity where others tried to erase it. In 8 scenes, we watched a camp built to crush women become a courtroom that helped convict evil, and a classroom that still teaches the world. Share their names, share their courage, and make sure the stones still speak.